And we're live. Welcome to Sesh podcast. I'm your host, Mason Shatwell, and joining me today, the LFA World Flyweight Champion, Victor Altamirano. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. It's a wonderful day here Sunday in Texas, USA, and it's I think the first day that looks like spring. So I'm very happy about that.
I bet you're going to enjoy being announced as the LFA champion at the moment.
It's very cool. It's a little surreal to think that that something I like a lot, I like doing a lot, has gotten me to this accomplishment. I don't get to say that very often, and I hope that everybody out there gets to do that once in their life.
Has it sunk in yet that you are, in fact, the LFA World Champion?
What's that?
Has it sunk in yet that you are the champion?
Yes, it's sunk in. It's sunk in with pressure, with responsibility. It's sunk in with a commitment to myself that we're going farther. We want more. That's how it's sunk in my head. It's like, okay, we have accomplished this. This means it's time to push harder because it's what we need to do if we want to move on.
100%. I'll go back to your last fight, which was LFA 100, where you won the title. What was the game plan going into that fight? Because I know there was a short notice change of opponent.
Yes, there was a short notice change of opponent. However, the similarities was that they were both going to be really good grapplers. Carlos Mota was going to be an exceptional jiu-jitsu player, and Nate Smith was an amazing wrestler. So, of course, for both of my strategies was to maintain the distance, control the distance, and make sure we deliver the most from there because that's where we are good at. And not that we're not that we're afraid of the exchanging grappling, but the best change towards victory is making sure that we attack them in the places in which they're not as comfortable. And I think that's true for any fighter.
Yeah. How confident was you going into the fight that you was going to come out with the title? Because obviously with a change of opponent, did that give you any extra nerves, not now knowing that you wasn't going to fight the guy you've been training for?
It didn't give me any extra, but it didn't give me any less nerves. It just, I still had a job to do. The LFA was not gonna bring in just any guy, and they didn't. It was Nate Smith, amazing fighter. So the level of opponent that I was gonna have I was not going to change. I was still going to need to bring my A game, So I wouldn't say I was completely confident and I knew I was going to win. I was sure that I was going to give it my best. I was sure I was going to enjoy myself. I was sure that I was going to be a worthy adversary myself for what they're giving me, which is now high level opponents. And I want to deliver that as well to them. That's what I was excited about. That's what I was thinking.
Well, with the fight, I'd say it was a comfortable decision win on your half. And I remember rewatching it just, I think, yesterday now. I've watched it twice, and your striking in that fight, keeping the distance where you could, it was really good. Was that, like you say, was that part of the game plan to keep the distance and hit him off the back foot?
Yes. The plan was to keep the distance, to maintain the distance. I feel really comfortable in striking, and you need to keep the distance if you want to make sure that you stay striking. So yeah, the game plan was that.
100%. How did it feel to be awarded the title shot after fighting for the LFA for so long? Because I'm not sure if everyone knows, you fought on the very first LFA event, and then there you are winning the title on the 100th.
How did it feel, man? It felt great. It felt really good to experience that moment because I felt like I was experiencing it with other people who were there with me from the beginning, and I was there with them from the beginning. So it felt really good to feel like we all won. And not just me, my team, Peak Performance Wataga, my coaches, my promotion, I guess LFA is a promotion that is pushing people to the UFC. So, I'm very grateful.
Well, while you're talking about from the beginning, who has helped you most in your career from the very start?
From the very start, I would say my gym. Coach Juan Tatum here at Peak Performance Watauga, from the very beginning, he's a very dedicated coach, not just to me, but to everyone here who has dreams of competition, who has aspirations of, becoming high level jiu-jitsu player or striker or MMA fighter. If you have the aspiration, the dedication, and the discipline to become a high level athlete in this gym, our coaches will make sure that they share that dream with you. And Coach Juan, the head coach here at Performance Watauga, he's done that beautifully. Again, not just for me, but for our other teammates. We have other coaches that will just contribute just to, with their passion. Michael Malone, Tony Lemons, Daniel Lemons. We have amazing coaches like David Luna. These guys are dedicated, disciplined, and they love what they do. And if you love being better, we're gonna get along. That's what we're here for.
Do you think it's important for a gym to have the almost family vibe towards it when you're in there?
I don't think it's necessary, but I think it is important, and it is most definitely necessary if you guys want to grow, if you want to go to become a high level. You don't have to be a family in your gym for you to be good at something, but
Hmm.
in order to pursue something so personally important to you, it has to be shared like that with the people who are in it with you. So I wouldn't say it's necessary for the gym to do that, but I think it's necessary for an individual if the aspirations are big, because your team needs to have and share that same passion for a common goal. And if you don't have that, then it's more difficult.
100%. I also think, obviously, when it's a family vibe within the gym, it's great because your success is also their success because you're on the journey together, and I think that's, in my opinion, that's also important for a gym because, like I just said, your success, it's everyone's because you're all on the journey together. But my next point, next question was going to be, what got you started in mixed martial arts in the first place?
What got me started with martial arts? I've been practicing martial arts for many, many years, and it was the thing that never left me. It was the thing that I was able to and wanted to continue doing because it was a never-ending story of just learning and growth. And as I became older, my opportunities as an immigrant here in the U.S. began to become a little more limited, but I was always able to train. So that stuck with me, and because it was one of the few things that I could devote my passion towards and continue doing so, I uh, I am where I am today. Another thing that got me into fighting is I love teaching. I love teaching this sport. I love teaching this art. I love teaching to fight. I love teaching everything that's about martial arts, mentally, physically. They're both important and they both have taught me a lot. So I like teaching, and I feel like I wouldn't be worthy of a teacher in martial arts if I didn't put myself to the test on the things that I would be teaching. I'm not going to ask you to do something that I haven't done myself, because if you encounter difficulty that I've never experienced, how am I going to efficiently teach you something?
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it.
Well, I know you're only young and not that far into your MMA career, but when all is said and done, and you eventually hang up the gloves, is that something that you want to do? Become a full-time MMA coach?
I would like to most definitely stay in the MMA. Whether it be a coach, whether maybe I'll become an announcer, maybe I'll work for a promotion. Whatever it is, I would like to continue being part of this world. Staying with my gym. I mean, there are so many options. There are so many options, and one thing that will never change is that my gym's going to be my gym. We're going to be a family. We're still going to continue, and we're going to move forward together. But everybody, not just me, again, everybody at this gym has an opportunity to continue living alive within the fighting community. I mean, people are referees. You could be a ref. People really like putting on competitions. We have a few of our instructors here and students who put together tournaments, that's really cool. It's just hard to leave that lifestyle because it's so fun and there's so much to do all the time.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 30. I turned 30 on January.
So you're 30. With some of the top guys, seeing as you're 30, you could have a good 10 years in this sport, maybe even more, depending on how your body holds up. What are your aspirations for the future, essentially?
Well, as far as my career goes, I want to go to the UFC. I want to fight there. I want to make sure that I prove to myself how far I can go. The goal is UFC belt. I want to hold the UFC title for the flyweight division, and I don't think that's me asking for the impossible. It's asking for a lot, and that's what I have to bring. If I want to get there, if I ask for a lot, I have to bring a lot. And if I understand that and continue just going at it, I think we can do it. I just need the opportunity to do so.
100%. I've got no doubt. As we alluded at the beginning, you're the LFA flyweight title holder, and I was looking before, and there's been some very talented fighters that have held that belt. There's been Casey Kenny, Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno. How does it feel to be in company with fighters of that caliber?
It feels great. It feels good because I've seen them fight, and if I don't necessarily think of my skill of being a certain type of way. But if people outside of me are telling me, "Hey, you're among those," and then I look back and I'm like, "I am okay, okay." If I feel like I have a lot of progress and growth to do, and if people are telling me that I'm among the people I think are great already, and I feel like I still have a lot to work on, it lets me know I still have a lot of passion that I'm going to dedicate to this. So it makes me realize, okay, I can be better and I want to be better. So we have a lot of room.
Obviously, with mixed martial arts, it's many different disciplines that make up the whole sport. Have you got what is your favorite discipline that makes up MMA?
My favorite discipline, I would say striking. Striking for sure is my favorite discipline. I just love the movement. I love the freedom. I love the impact. I love the sound of the impact, the feeling of the impact. Just if to me, I've never flown a plane, but I'm sure it feels like striking. You're just moving at any given moment. You can just fall down, but you can just move here, move there, and enjoy the ride. So it's pretty cool.
100%. Obviously, like everyone's going to know now, you're a professional mixed martial arts fighter. Was there a deciding moment in the beginning of your career that made you want to take up MMA as a job full time?
I was young. I didn't. I didn't have a lot of. I didn't have a lot of obligations, and it's super fun and something that I love. So I didn't have a family that kept my time. I was fortunate enough to continue doing this, and so because I was eager to learn more, because I was eager to become a proficient teacher, because I was eager to explore the limits and boundaries of my efficiency as a martial artist, I eventually went up to finding out, okay, how do I test what I know? Well, I fight. Okay, I win. Let's do it again. Who's next? Who's another proficient adversary that's also trained that can test me to make sure that I'm trained and I'm doing well, and then so on and so forth. And everyone has given me something, everyone has taken something away from me, and just being able to build up from that. Whether it's a win or lose, you still got to build up for that. You got to build up from a loss because you got holes in your game. You got to build up from your win because now people have watched what you look like when you're doing things right, so they know what they need to do to make sure you do things wrong. So you got to build up from a loss and a win. So that's what kept me going for fighting. It's like, okay, well, it's never ending. I'm going to encounter someone good and better and better and better, and I need to bring that. as well.
Well, as you mentioned, losses, that was going to be my next question. Your professional record, I believe, at the top of my head is 9-1, and I think there's a couple of losses on your amateur record. As you say, they're all learning curves, but in the moment, how do you overcome the loss and then get back in the gym?
You just you go back, you talk with your coach, you let them know, it's like, look, this is what we need to do. You gotta make sure that you know what got in your head and what didn't, because sometimes your performance has something to do with the state of mind in which you are, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it's both. Sometimes you weren't feeling your body, and sometimes you were in your head. Sometimes you didn't practice a certain series of techniques, a certain submission or a certain movement, and then you got in your head. There are so many factors, physical and mental, that can cause a loss. So the first thing to do is acknowledge which ones stem from the mind and which ones stem from the body. Which ones do you fix by drilling, and which ones do you fix by just you talking to yourself and figure out, okay, how do I make sure that I'm confidently doing this? And I would say that's the first step. Once you acknowledge that, then you can just begin the road. You already figure out where you need to go, and then you go. You go to fixing your problems, you go drilling this, you go to thinking about that, and you get back up, and you get to see if that works, because you're about to fight again.
100%. Obviously, the LFA has produced many fighters for the UFC, and with you being the title holder for LFA in the flyweight division, what do you think would be next for you? Do you think it would be an automatic UFC shot? Do you think it'll be the contender series, or do you think you'll defend the title next?
I would like to go to the UFC. I would like to go straight to the UFC. I beat Chris O'Con, great opponent, and I believe he was in the contender series or
I
one
think
of the
so.
one of the shows, and we just finished and got the LFA title against Nate Myth, which was also in the contender series. I mean, if I would have had those fights in the contender series, I would just go to the UFC, and I have fought those same people who did there, who were there. So I basically fought in the contender series, not with them, but I fought the fighters that they had there. Virtually, I would say that I've been in the contender series because I fought the fighters. Now, that's just how I look at it. I don't know. I don't know. I would ask you as a fan, as an outsider, how you would see this next move, and what do you think should happen, or make more sense?
Well, in my opinion, seeing as you've captured the title, I think it would warrant the automatic UFC shot, just because if you didn't win the title fight, I would say the contender series, but now you've won the title and you are the champion, I do think that warrants the shot within the UFC. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess if it makes sense for everybody, and it also makes sense for me, I don't see why that shouldn't be the case. If that's what the people want to see, let's give them that.
May as well give people what they want to see. Completely right. For people that aren't too familiar with yourself, what would you say is the best tool in your arsenal?
My best tool in my arsenal, I would say my movement, my movement with striking is probably my best tool in the arsenal. I've come into a place in my striking where I feel very comfortable. So just standing alone, I would say that's my most efficient tool. The comfortability that I have on my feet.
100%. You've had quite a few opponents now at professional and amateur. Who has been the toughest guy that you've stepped in the octagon with?
The toughest guy, man, that's a hard question. That's a very difficult question, because just now Nate Smith, he was tough. He was real tough. He just took shots. He didn't care, and he got me. I got him. He stood there, and Nate's tough. Um, Dang, Lloyd McKinney, relentless pressure. Man, I don't know. I don't know if I can answer this question correctly. I will tell you. I will tell you who has damaged my faith the most, that was Rashad Robinson. Shout out to Rashad Robinson. What's up, man? He just got me. He got me good. And I fought Muay Thai before, and he pieced me up. Pop, 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 pop. He dropped me against the cage. I'm not ashamed to say that. He dropped me against the cage. And right as he was about to continue, I managed to move outside, and you know, we got back up to it. And yeah, that was good. There's a picture of me going like this, and I'm pieced up. That was Rashad. I would say Rashad as the one that has pieced me up the best.
My next question was going to be, and you've alluded it kind of there. How, when you're in the cage and a fight's not going your way at the moment, how do you deal with the adversity?
Well, I acknowledge that if I don't do anything, it's not gonna get any better. You know, I just got pieced up. What do I do? Well, don't stay where you are. You know, whatever it is that you're doing, stop doing it. You know, it's I'm not. I'm too busy trying to create and to keep fighting. In my head, I'm too busy trying to fight. I'm too busy trying to do what I love. I'm too busy trying to do what I want to do, which is fight. That I don't think about, okay, fuck, how am I gonna deal with this adversity? You know, at times I catch myself with some doubts, with some nervousness, and you're never gonna get away from your doubts. You're never gonna get away from your nervousness. There's nothing that you're gonna tell yourself that will make your nervousness and your doubts disappear. There's nothing you can tell yourself that will just boom, it's done, it's disappear. But what you can do is you can tell yourself, okay, well, I'm very busy right now because I'm about to do something very important to acknowledge this. So I'm just gonna set it aside because it's not important. It's not gonna help you. It's not going to help you whatsoever to get caught up on how it feels to be losing. That's not going to help at all. You that's just an acknowledgement of how you feel, and set it aside because you're too busy doing. Stop feeling, get busy doing. That's how I get to it.
We've mentioned a couple of times now that you're fighting at flyweight, and that is 125 pounds. How are the weight cuts usually going into a fight at 125?
The weight cuts have recently been really good. It took us a few years, but we have finally just dialed it in to make sure that it's the, relatively speaking, most comfortable weight cut that we've done. We just start with water manipulation and we go from there. Just make sure the diet's very important. Maintaining diet throughout the camp and making sure that you're hydrated. The more you're able to create a routine of how your body is fueled, the easier it is to manipulate it if you need to change it. So that alone has made a great difference on the last 3 weight cuts.
This next question, it could have 2 answers. When do you want to fight next, and when do you think we'll see you fight next?
Right now, I would like a little time to enjoy myself, but not too much, because if the UFC wants me short notice, I'm gonna be ready, right? So maybe within the next month, maybe within 2 months, whatever opportunity the UFC presents to me, that's when I want to fight next.
100%. And last thing from me, for a young guy that wants to fight, say a young amateur wants some advice, what piece of advice would you give if you could only give one?
I would say practice. Stay dedicated, stay disciplined, because you're not going to get better at anything that you don't practice. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter how big your dream is to be the best guitarist in the world. If you never pick up your guitar, or if you pick it up once a week, as long as you dedicate, just practice, just stay on top of it. You're not going to get bad by continuing to do it. Although it may feel like it, like, man, I'm not making any good progress. I'm getting tapped every day. I just got a head kick. My girlfriend was there and she saw it all. It doesn't matter, just go back again the next day, because you're not going to get worse the next day. That's what 100%. I would say.
Well, you've heard it from the man himself there, guys, the world flyweight LFA champion. I just wanted to say huge thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure, and best of luck for the rest of your career. I'm sure we'll speak again sometime.
I sure hope so, Mason.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Vic. It's been a pleasure.